Greetings and welcome back to another episode of Digital Dating with Anonymous Andrew. And I am excited today because I have a guest who has quite a story. Today with me, and I'd like to welcome to the show, Shaunna Lee. Welcome, Shaunna, to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Shaunna is a self-proclaimed, she said this earlier, a start again expert. And I like that title because it kind of, I feel like the same thing. It's like every time I try to start over again, I have to start over again. And I'm getting to be an expert at that. And she also has a podcast called Empowered Endeavored. She's the host of that podcast. So welcome, Shaunna. And I'm going to throw it to you. And let's
Thank
tell your
you.
story.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, it's interesting this little journey I've been on, this entrepreneur journey, where yes, I became a podcast host. Empowered Endeavors is my show, and it started by being called Start Again with Shaunna Lee. And that's when I coined the Start Again expert phrase, because really, so many people can relate to this, but I've been starting over and over and over so many times in my life. And each time it was like this opportunity for reinvention. And it wasn't starting over from scratch. Each time I was starting from a place of more experience and a little more wisdom, we hope. And so, yeah, after my third divorce, I I would say that was probably my biggest reinvention moment. It's when I wrote my book called Start Again. No, it's called So You're Divorced, So What? And that's when I started the podcast, and I kind of went down this whole path of life after divorce. I do say it's the prettiest divorce book you'll ever read because divorce is not a pretty subject, and it really is a guide on how to put your life back together. And when you are at that, well, now what moment after the dust has settled and the trauma has been ensued, and you're kind of looking around like, now what am I going to do with my life? That's when you pick up my book, and it is the guide on how to, with intention, put your life on the path that you want it to be on and be able to see like that there's opportunity there. And anyways, so that is where I have coined the phrase Start Again expert, because now I get to help other people kind of craft what their next chapter looks like. And yes, it is sad. And yes, there is grief and loss, but there's a lot of exciting opportunities there as well. And sometimes it includes dating.
Yeah. And I have been down that road myself many, many times. And I'm not going to bore the audience because they know my story. But, I've been divorced twice. I've had many, many, many relationships in between. I've had my sobriety, like trying to get my life together that way 2 times. Finally, I got it right. I got 10 years coming up. But yeah, starting over again. And especially after like a bad breakup. So, you're talking, you've had 3 divorces, but you could be in a 3 to 5 to 6 year relationship that was really intense. You're living together, and then it just explodes in your face. And it's like, one of the things that kept me in my last relationship was I just didn't want to start over again. It was like, how many times do I have to start over again?
Yes.
Right? So,
yeah, I actually I'm a year out of a 4-year relationship. And it was the first serious relationship I had after my divorce, my last divorce, which took me 6 years. I spent 6 years very single, lots of dating, lots of playing the field, put a few notches in the bedpost. Like I made up for lost time because I had been married for the majority of my life. And so for 6 years, I truly focused on me and what do I want and how do I undo all of those patterns I was seeing in these relationships so that when I was ready to start dating again, I could do it differently. And I did. And yet the relationship still didn't last. And
no.
I think I have some theories, but I don't know that I think some people get very lucky to meet somebody who they can grow and evolve with. I think the majority of us are growing and evolving at different paces. And it's hard to do that together. And at least for me, that has been the case. And so yeah, I think the relationship ended, but it played its course, and it was my healthiest relationship to date. So I am very proud of that.
what would you say is one of the biggest this question came to my mind as soon as you said that. So let me give an example. The last relationship that I was in, and I did what you did. I didn't take 6 years off. I took 2.5 years off from dating, but I did the same thing as you. I went on dates, although I didn't do any bedposts because I, I just that's just something that I wasn't looking for. And I'm typically not this. People are going to find this odd because men love hookups. Like, if you can get laid
Mm,
for the night, big. That's great. That's not my style. I need a little bit of connection. But anyway, we're getting off track. I
yeah.
went on a lot of dates. And one of the things that I kept going back to and finding that I did in the last relationship was I was a people pleaser.
Mm.
I always wanted to make her happy and put her on a pedestal and buy her gifts and take her on trips and buy, well, and that worked to my detriment. It backfired on me ultimately. And what I ended up learning in the last 2.5 years is that, and a good friend of mine said this to me one day. He said, Andrew, you got to stop treating her or the other person as the prize and you're the prize. You're the one so I don't
100%.
think it's not a gender thing, but if you go into a relationship flowering and love bombing and all that,
Mhm.
you're putting yourself second. I don't know if
Yeah,
I'm
and I think
explaining
all of
right.
those things you talked about are good and important and positive things, right? Like we all want accolades and
But in moderation, I
but
was
you
overboard.
can't do it to your detriment. You have to be able to put yourself first. And one of my favorite mantras, so I created this course to help people date with intention. I call it Dating Different. And one of the things I actually borrowed and used this phrase from Amanda Francis, so I will give her credit for it. But I put it in my phone as a little reminder, and the alarm goes off, and it's a reminder every day at the same time. I am a catch. I am the prize. I am the whole damn vibe. And that thing is like magic because when you take that mentality into a date, it's no longer, does this person like me? Will they choose me? It flips the script and it is, can I enjoy this conversation for what it is? Let's take all the pressure off of it. First of all, early dating is awkward enough, but I think
Agreed.
being able to just enjoy the moment with the person who's sitting across from you and let it be fun and get to know the person and without, I don't know about, I can't speak for men, but I can speak for a lot of women in that we're kind of going off this little tick list in our mind, does he do this? It's not a job interview. Like you're just
Right.
having a drink or a chat or whatever with a person and getting to know them. And when we use that mantra, I think it switches it. So it's no longer, will they like me? It's, do I like them? Do I want to go on a second date? Do I want to have another longer conversation? And I think I don't know. It does us all a favor.
I also did something. So this podcast started because I was in a relationship that was many years. And in retrospect, I look back at the first 6 months and I saw all these red flags that in hindsight that I ignored or missed or chose to ignore or chose to not pay
Mm-hmm.
attention to. And then I did a whole season on red flags, what to look for and
Yeah.
not to be gaslit. And then someone said to me, a couple of guests came on and other people said to me, why do you have to look for the red flags? Look for the
Mhm.
green flags.
Yes, that's what I was just thinking.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and that's what I'm doing now. Now I'm looking for the green flags. And I went on a date just a couple nights ago and it lasted 2 hours because I didn't look at her. It was just a coffee date. And I looked at her, not looking for the negative in her. I was looking for the positive in her. And it was such a
Yes.
more pleasant 2 hours. It passed so quickly. It was like, oh my God, it's like we didn't expect to be here this long.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, and I think that can be, I mean, we can apply that to any situation in our life. Like if we go into it looking for the positive or it's just more enjoyable. And who couldn't use some more fun? I mean, I could.
Yeah, it was it was one of those things. Would you like to have a cup of coffee with me? And those kind of coffee dates, and we could debate on what a first date really should be like. But I call them meet
Mm,
and greets. But I had
mhm.
already known this person because we play a sport together.
Oh,
So, and I
yes.
was attracted to her, and I asked her out for coffee. And I didn't think it would go more than a half hour. You know, you go to, it wasn't
Yeah.
Starbucks, but it was similar. It was a brewery place, a coffee place. And you get your little 8 ounce or 12 ounce thing. And how long does it take to drink that? But it that half hour went so fast, and the next thing we know, it was 2 hours and 10 minutes or something. And it was because we were, well, I think we were vibing, and the chemistry was there, but
Sure.
we just, I wasn't looking for the negative stuff, and all I kept
Yeah.
hearing was positive things, and it just kept feeding more and more and more and more. So,
Yep. Yep. I mean, I think red flags are important, right?
oh
Like we
yeah,
need to be aware, especially like aware of our patterns and what we're bringing to the conversation. But yeah, if we're just looking for the negative, that's all you're going to find and see.
yeah. If you got the blinders on, so
Mhm.
you have, all right. So you have some stories. Do you want to talk about any?
Some stories. I have stories. Listen, first of all, I when I was marketing this dating course, it was that you could meet your person without dating apps because I'll know about you, but I don't enjoy the dating apps.
No.
And I really in this when I was with intention attracting this person into my life for this last relationship, I did not want to meet him on a dating app. I had to get to a point where I could accept that it was okay if it happened that way. I was so against it in the beginning. Um, but what I realized was my attitude that I was bringing to the dating apps that just brought me more horrible experiences. Or, like, here's my example I was on all of the different dating apps at one point. I saw all the same people on all. I'm like, it doesn't matter. You think Tinder's for hookups, or you think Hinge is where you're going to find your person, or eHarmony. No, all the people are on all the apps. They're in the same place. It doesn't matter. Just pick one. Is what I tell people.
Or you're gonna get the even look, forget Tinder for a second, but like eHarmony or Match or Hinge, you're gonna find either the ones that are just looking for hookups. The guys are just looking for hookups, or the women, or they don't know what they want, or it's just it's like a mishmash of people, and it's trying to find that one person that drives with what you want. I'm looking for long term. I'm at the age now where I want to settle down and just live out the rest of my life with somebody. And you know, I'm close to retirement, so I want to find someone to retire with and live out my life. I'm not. I did all my fun. You know, in the last 40 years, I've had my fun. It's time to settle down now. But the dating apps are just not the place to find it. So I'm kind of, what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so I was on Bumble for, I don't even, I would get on, and then I would get off, and I would get frustrated. And then I would get on again, and then I would get off. Not one date ever in all of my Bumble experience. And this is the one everyone's swearing by. And then I had one date on Hinge, and I was like, these numbers are not good. And I mean, I had all the same experiences that everyone
Give
had,
me an
but
example. What was happening?
so I tended to find a lot of catfish scenarios.
Oh,
So it was, I was constantly assuming, and usually it was pretty good. I'm like, this doesn't sound like, this is broken English. This is not a real person. And so it was a lot of that over and over again, just not making real connections with real people. And then I actually went on more dates on Tinder, and I met an ex boyfriend on Tinder. So, I mean, whatever.
what my experience has been is I'm on Bumble and 3 or 4 others, and I'm also, there's a couple of AI dating apps that are brand new, which are very interesting. But that's a conversation for another
Well,
day.
I've seen some of these ads,
Oh,
and
have you?
they're a little appeal. I'm like, maybe I should get back on the dating
Cupid,
app. I'm real close.
Cupid AI, and then there's one called, it's hard to pronounce, but it's DATAING, Data Ing. It's a play on words. So it's an A,
Interesting.
but it's completely AI. You don't have to sit there and create a bio. You talk to the bot, and you upload 6 pictures, and the bot interviews you and just asks you a bunch of questions, and then it'll create a profile, and then you tell it what you're looking for, and it goes, then you got to give it 24, 36 hours. It'll go out and look for the match in its database, and it comes back to you with matches. It's pretty cool.
Are you getting good matches?
No, because it just dropped. So
Oh,
I
I see.
interviewed this. It was interesting. I interviewed the gentleman who created the app about 6 months ago. He wanted to come on and just talk about it, and then it
Uh-huh.
went live about a month ago. And he came back on and said, "Okay, now it's live." But when they launch apps, apparently the dating apps, they launch them in cities where they want to
Oh,
start. So
yes.
they're launching it in LA. So right now I'm in New York. So every time it came back with a match, it found somebody, and she was in Los Angeles. And I'm like, I had
Oh,
to
that's
keep
not gonna
going
work.
back to the AI and say, no, I'm in New York. I'm in New York.
Yeah.
But anyway, you got to get these, like any other app, you got to get people on
You
it.
need
You
people
can't
in there
match,
for sure, for
yeah,
sure.
200 people. You got to match 200,000 people, 2 million people, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's been so long. I'm trying to think what were my stories that I had said. Uh, I'm blanking on my stories, but I just
Well, I'll tell you one, and maybe one will jog your memory.
yeah.
And it's not a story; it's a repetitive pattern that I'm seeing on the
Mm,
dating apps. Is the breadcrumbing? So we match,
yes.
we text for a day, and maybe, or I like texting for a day or two and see if there's something there. And if there is, then I try to get it off the app. We get onto a phone number, exchange phone
Yes.
numbers, and it's like, I hate this expression. I hate, like, but it's like pulling teeth to get them to
Yes.
talk. And they'll drop you little tidbits of information, and they'll say something, and then they disappear for 2 days, 3 days. And I'll reach out again, and they'll give you a little bit more information. And I'm talking to this one woman now who I find really attractive. She matched with me. I really liked it. And it's been almost 7 to 10 days, and I
Oh, that's
can't
too
get a
long.
phone call out of her. She will not pick up the phone and call me. Or I said to her, "Can I call you?" And she said, "Oh, my English isn't very good." And I said, "Well, how are you talking to me?" And she says, "I'm using a translator." She's Asian. And so I said, 7 to 10 days and you're using a translator? We're not going to go anywhere. So
Mm-mm.
that, I don't know if that's an example of breadcrumbing, but she strung me along for 10 days just to finally tell me she doesn't speak English. You could have told
Yeah,
me
that
that at day one.
yeah, would have saved a lot of time.
Saved a lot of time.
No, I did remember a story. So I back in the online dating days, for me, I met this. It was when you talked about the phone numbers. So I also want to get off the app and go to a phone number pretty quickly. And because here's the thing, it's a lot of work to have all these conversations with all these different people at the same time and try to remember who was who and just to keep, I don't understand how anybody can date more than one person at a time. It is a
It's
lot to
almost like you
handle
have
for
to keep
me.
a spreadsheet. And I started one day, but I just said,
That it's so much work. Anyhow, I had made my way from the app to a phone number with this guy, and we never met, but we had texted a little bit, and something turned me off on texting. So then we never met. This is so stupid. Months later, I go to get my hair done. And at the time, my hairdresser, he would only cut my hair and he did not do color. And I was going to another person for color. And it's easier to do it all at one time in the same appointment. And so I
right.
was like, dude, do you have anybody in the salon who can color my hair? And he was like, oh, so and so can color it. Of course, he couldn't do it the same day. I still had to come back. I am sitting in the chair of this dude who's going to color my hair. And it is the guy who I had been texting with. And I was like, oh my God, he is talking, we're talking about all the same. I know everything that he's about to tell me because we've already had, I know your kids. I see the same picture that is right there was on your
Did he
profile.
know it was you?
I do not know.
So you knew it
And
was him, but he doesn't know that
I
it.
knew it was him and I never said anything. And he did a terrible job on my hair. So maybe he did know. But I did not go back and I was like, oh my God, it was the most awkward. And hair color takes a long time. So it was like 2 hours that I was stuck in this dude's chair. And yeah, that was a weird dating story for sure. A not quite dating story.
Yeah. Well, you met him on a dating app, so yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I did.
which is possible because especially if you're in an urban area or crowd, like I'm in outside New York City, but it's very suburban. I could run into anybody. I must have
Yeah.
dated 20 women in a 5 mile radius of me. I'm going to run into them somewhere,
Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah.
So
Well, it was just very interesting. I did not get the impression that he knew who I was, but I also kind of had that impression when we were texting. So I was like, he's just not real invested in knowing who
Yeah.
he's talking to.
Yeah. Why is that? Why? Now, I understand some dating apps are free and some dating apps cater to the women, females, so they get more. Like on Hinge, I think the men get one rose a week or something. But why is it that people invest on creating a profile, which can take a long time? You have to find the right pictures. You got to fill out all the
It
bios. You
does
got to
take a long time.
verify. It could sometimes take an hour to an hour. And then you want to tweak it every once in a while. You put all this work into this profile, and then
Yeah.
when you go to use it, you're not using it. It seems like
Oh,
nobody
that makes
puts.
me crazy. Nobody
Yeah,
even reads what you wrote. I'm like, do you know how long it took me to figure out the most
yeah.
perfect way to tell you that I like to drink coffee?
But and I think people are starting to do this, and I know it's a little maybe not. Uh, well, you tell me what it is. I'm starting to use ChatGPT. I
Well,
just or any
I
AI.
I use Chat GPT all the time. Um, but it did not exist when I was using dating apps. I think I
Right.
just
Okay. Yeah.
aged
It's
myself,
fairly new.
but
Yeah.
okay, that helps that it's fairly new.
Yeah. Well.
But yeah, I totally would at this point use chat to help me
Mhm.
create a profile. Here, you know all this stuff about me anyways, like help me draft. I did with the other day, there was some trend I saw online where someone asked, "Be my drunk bestie and tell me what I do in," and it told chat to do that. And so it came back with just like, "Hey girl, yes," kind of talking about it, but it was pretty spot on with the way it described what I do. And it was just like a cutesy fun thing, but it probably would come up with a pretty good dating profile is what I was getting at.
And with all of the dating apps that I'm aware of, every time you reset it, so either you change a prompt, you change a picture, or you change your bio, it resets the algorithm. I don't know if you know
I
that,
did
but
not know that.
if you don't change your bio, your profile, or anything in your profile for like 3 or 4 weeks, it literally starts to forget about you. And
Mhm.
so by resetting it, it resets the algorithm, so you start to be shown again up top. So
That is very helpful information. I did not know that. And that would probably describe why after a few weeks it was just like crickets.
yeah.
Nothing was
Ask
happening.
ChatGPT about that. Ask it how often you should. I don't know which.
Interesting.
When I say ChatGPT, I'm being generic. Ask whatever
Sure.
AI people, because there's so many of them now. But I
There's
guess
so many.
ChatGPT is the most one that everybody knows about.
Common. Yeah.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. So let's switch gears a little bit. I want to know about the dating different program that you came up with.
Oh, yes. This program's, it's 8 weeks. Before we hit record, I think I told you it was 4 because that's my podcast program. But it's 8 weeks, and it is each week you learn a little something and then you get homework, which is to go out and practice what we just talked about. And the whole intention is for people to shift the story and switch the script around so that you're not out there looking for a needle in a haystack. You are not trying to find this one impossible person who's going to be your exact match. You are attracting the person to you, and it just shifts the whole thing around. And so it's been a little bit since I looked at it, but every week is a different activity. One week you have to go on a date by yourself. I do remember that. And it really is about knowing yourself and what's important. And I am very much a fan of having your list. What are your non-negotiables? What are your nice to haves? Like, what does a perfect partner for you look like?
Let
Hmm.
want to stop you there. Non-negotiables. Can you
Hmm.
elaborate on that?
I think deal breakers. Like,
Okay.
everybody's got deal breakers. For me, it's a smoker. I've dated a smoker. I was married to a smoker, and I don't like it. I don't care that other people smoke, but I
I
don't
agree.
want that in a partner. And so that is a deal breaker for me. If you're a smoker, off the
But if you
list.
have so maybe I should ask the question differently. If male or woman, but I'm the male
Hmm.
looking at women's
Hmm.
profiles, if I see a woman have a list of deal breakers,
Oh, first of all, I don't think you should be posting that in your profile.
thank
That
you.
is for you to know and you to figure out. And that is the whole song and dance of dating, is to figure that out and to read profiles and not to go out and say, that's making your list someone else's homework. No, it's not
Yeah.
someone else's
Okay.
work to figure out if they match your
Because I
list or
have
not.
seen, and I've said this so many times to my audience, I have
Mhm.
seen it can start with, if you're a smoker, don't bother me. Don't swipe on me. If you don't have a valid passport, don't swipe on me. If you it could be either way on the politic. If you voted for Trump, or you're a liberal or conservative, and it's
Yes.
like I'm
Yes.
reading this, no, no, no. If you're this, no, 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 no.
Yes.
So when I get to the third one, I'm like, never mind. It's just too much. It's like,
To me, that is really telling about that person's personality. And that tells me, one, you're super jaded and probably pretty negative. So we're not going to vibe anyways.
right.
But yeah, I think it's a huge turnoff for someone to put all of
So
that in their
so one
profile.
one deal breaker.
Um, I I don't really think your deal breakers should go in your profile.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood you then. I thought you were
No,
saying,
I just think everyone needs a list. You need to know what it is you're looking for and
oh,
that
for
you
your
are on
person. Okay,
purpose
okay.
for your
Gotcha,
own
gotcha.
personal knowledge. Because I think a lot of people out there just kind of winging it and looking for this.
Okay.
And I think you should, on purpose, decide what is your perfect
Oh, I
person.
agree. As a matter of
Yeah.
fact, I do what some people have said, that you should manifest the dream girl or the dream
Mm-hmm.
guy that you want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She's yeah, she's smiling.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so
I
if you
did
could sit,
this. And someone told me, when I told one of my girlfriends my long list of what I wanted in a future partner, and she goes, "So you're looking for a unicorn?" I was like, "Well,
well, yeah,
I don't know.
because
If
we're
I
gonna
get to
put
pick
things
and
down.
choose, I'm gonna be specific." Here's what I've learned: you have to be specific. So when it comes to manifesting, I am fully. My kids are so tired of hearing about this. I fully believe this is possible, but you need to be specific, because I did not specify height. And I realized height was a little more important to me after I was in a 4-year relationship with someone who was not quite as tall as I would like him to be. It didn't stop me from dating him, didn't stop me from us living together. But there were moments where I was like, I would like him to be a little bit taller than me. The same height for me didn't work. And so he met every other thing on my list, because I think manifestation does work, but you have to be specific.
Okay. So
What's really important and what's
yeah.
not.
Okay. All right. So is there? So that's we were in dating. You were taking me through your program. So what's next?
Yeah. So it really is just about finalizing what is it that you're looking for, switching the script. You're not out there hoping and praying someone's going to pick you. You are whole and complete all by yourself, and you are looking for someone to add value to your life. And also, a big component of the course is, are you the partner that that person deserves? Because that's where the real work comes in. I think we can be out here all the live long day talking about what our list and how perfect we want this guy to have, a great body. Well, are you also the person that they deserve to have? Like, are you showing up in the way that you are the best partner? And if I was honest with myself in the very beginning, I was not the partner that I know I can be and who I evolved into being. And that's
Physical
important.
or mental or
All of the above.
socioeconomical?
All of the above. I think that if I'm out here having a requirement for someone, am I also doing that? So if I want someone to
Okay.
be super generous, well, am I generous with my time and
Okay.
my resources? Like, it's
Yeah.
two sides to every coin.
And I agree 100%. I have one or two of so I'm, besides being in recovery, and I don't drink, and I don't care if you drink, and even if you're 420 friendly, you need to, whatever. I could probably tolerate that, but I am a super healthy nut. I have gone from destroying my body for 50 years to now I am completely, I am rebuilding my body from ground zero, and I'm getting a lot of praise from my doctors and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So, but if I look at a profile and I see that they don't exercise,
Yeah.
and if I look at the picture, let's talk about this too, because I get, most people agree with me. Most of my guests, 6 pictures, right? Let's say 5 to 6 pictures.
Oh my gosh. So
Tell me about
Yes,
pictures.
this is what there's a set, there's a number that you're supposed to do a specific thing in each picture. Yes, I
Thank
did
you.
not know this until I was working with some really young folks. And I was in my early 40s and I was just getting on dating apps, and all of my coworkers were like early to mid 30s. So they taught me that yes, there are 6 photos that you're supposed to have. I don't even know if I remember what all of them are, but you need a close up of your face, you need a full body image, you need one with you being with friends that shows you're social, you need one showing that you are outdoorsy if you're outdoorsy. What kind of activities do you do? Are you dancing? Are you biking? Whatever the thing is that you like to do. Like, you need to show your personality and who you are. What, that's only 4 though. What are the other 2 that I'm missing?
Well, mine. This is mine, and you can vary it obviously because not everybody's going to have their own difference. So it's 2 headshots. So I want to see you up close. Well, first of all, let's just take right off the top, no filters, because every camera
Mm-hmm.
now and all these AIs, you can put yourself through a filter. That's just basically catfishing. You're going to filter out
It's just
everything.
lying.
You're lying. So
It's
no
just lying.
filters. Okay. The camera, and I know some of these cameras are high resolution and they're gonna pick up a wrinkle and they're gonna pick up this it is what it is, because when I meet you in person, I'm gonna see that anyway. So no filters.
This is what I've been saying. I'm like, why would you even bother trying to like portray yourself in a way that is not accurate? I'm going to know exactly when I see you what's
Correct.
what.
Right.
I agree. I
All right.
agree.
So
But
two
and
headshots.
back to your like active lifestyle though, cuz I don't think we fully talked about
Okay.
that. I feel like that is not just, I want someone to look pretty. What you're saying is you want someone's lifestyle to match yours. Like,
Healthy. Eat healthy.
eat healthy. Like, how are you going to pick a restaurant if if they like fast food and you want to eat clean? Like,
Yeah.
I think, well, and honestly, I've been married to that before, and that causes issues. Like, I think those things are important, and a healthy lifestyle, I think, is a very
There's
valid
somebody that doesn't order French fries. If we, it's hard. It's so hard to talk about that. But I don't eat any sugar, processed foods, French fries, greasy foods, hamburgers.
uh-huh,
It's
uh-huh.
all healthy. I don't want to bore the audience with my diet, but just somebody that cares what they put in their body, and also is there's a whole thing about how much cardiovascular exercise that you should put
Mhm,
into in 1 week, and I think it's something like 3 hours a week, broken
mhm.
down. Like you do 20 minutes, 20 whatever, and I'm very very active: bicycle, pickleball, tennis, walking. And I just this past holiday weekend was Memorial Day weekend. I played 3, 4, 5, 7 hours of pickleball and tennis in 3 days, and it
Yeah,
just kept me because it was a beautiful weekend. I had and I work, so my weekends are my playtime. But I just want so let's get back to the pictures for a second because
yeah, yeah.
that's where I was going. 2 headshots, 2 body shots can be you standing on the beach, standing on the docks.
Mhm,
Uh,
mhm.
Maybe with a friend. I don't like seeing friends in photos. I'm assuming that you're a social person because, and maybe
Oh,
that's
that's a
not,
scary assumption because I've met some people who are not social and they don't have friends. And to me, that's a little bit of a red
that's a
flag if you
red
don't
flag.
have
I
friends.
agree. I agree. And then the last 2 shots would be, like you said, something that shows that you're active. Are you a rock
Mhm.
climber? Do you like kayaking? Do you like bicycling like I do? I get a picture of a bicycle and a picture of me playing tennis. Full wide shot of me. You can see me doing both of those activities. And then I have 2 close-ups, me sitting literally here at my desk at the podcast with headphones. So there's a picture of me. You can see my full body and you can see that I'm a podcaster. So they know that
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
part of me. Anyway, that's 6 shots of, I want to see everything about you.
Yeah. I
The
agree.
only thing about the multiple people in the picture is I've seen women go to a bar and they'll do the selfie and there's 5 women in the picture. And I don't know which one is you
Yeah. You
because you're all
can't
the
lead
same
with that
age.
photo. Yeah. That, I think I listened to one of your other episodes where you said, like, maybe put it at the end. And I agree. Like, I have looked at so many profiles where it's all groups and I'm like,
Yeah.
which one are you? I
Right.
need to know who you are. And so, yeah, I agree. I
And if
agree.
they put those smiley faces over their head, what's the So I see 6 people with these big smiley emojis over their
Yes.
face, and
Yes.
then I see you in the middle, you're squeezed in the middle. I don't know. I think that what it comes down to is put a little effort, but take some, like, if you're going on a job interview, are you not gonna sit down and redo your resume and put some effort into it,
Exactly.
right? Do the
Exactly.
same thing with your profile. Just put a little effort into, do a
And
little and show
I
it to somebody.
oh my gosh, yes. Get it reviewed.
Show it to a
Preferably
girlfriend, show it to a
by the
guy friend.
yes, by the whatever gender you are trying to attract. Like, let's have one of them look at it because I cannot tell you how many male profiles I was looking at that were just bathroom selfies. I'm like, you can get a friend to take a picture of you. We don't have to do bathroom selfies anymore.
But by the way, also I need to mention this because I just realized I talked about being healthy, and I'm sucking on an electronic cigarette. It's because I gave up vaping. No, I gave it up. But
Mhm.
and I'm in my second week. It was my last vice, and it's the hardest thing to give up. But the hand to mouth thing. So this thing is a zero nicotine electronic pen that
Ooh.
lasts, I think, 2 days, and you just puff on it, and it gives you a puff of like little steam, but you don't inhale it. It's the oral fixation thing. So I don't want you to think that I'm all talking about all healthy, being healthy, and here I am
It didn't
vaping.
even register.
Okay, but this is on video and it's going to go on YouTube, and I don't want
Yeah,
somebody to
yeah,
say, "Oh, he's healthy, but he's vaping." I mean, I
for
do not.
sure.
I quit vaping, so I'm nothing goes in my
Also, though,
body.
this brings up a good point. I think we can say we're healthy, and it doesn't mean 100% of everything
Correct.
that goes
Yes.
into it's not all or nothing.
No.
I think we can just say we live a healthy lifestyle, and it's the majority of the time, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
I also,
I
you do
just came
you.
back from Florida, visited my son, and I have a strict diet when I'm up here. I have a lo- I'm again, I'm not going to go through it, but I have a regular breakfast, lunch, and dinner is what I eat, the same thing almost every day. When I got to Florida and I was visiting my son and traveling and visiting people, I was at a restaurant every night enjoying whatever was on the menu. So you
Yeah,
can go
yeah.
off your diet or you can go off your healthy because vacation. And that's why I came back and played 7 hours of pickleball. I had to lose a lot of weight, all those calories that I nailed. So
They got to go somewhere.
tell us a little bit about your podcast.
My podcast, Empowered Endeavors. So it's business strategy for the purpose driven. That's the tagline. And really, the intention is that everyone out there has this whisper, this nudge to do this creative endeavor of some sort. And my favorite is when people say, I'm not creative. I'm like, yes, every human being on the planet is creative. Your way of doing it is going to look different than someone else's, but it doesn't mean you're not creative. And so I think a lot of people have these hopes, wishes, desires, and they never do anything with them. And that makes me crazy. Like, you want to write a book, you want to start a podcast, you want to start a side gig, you want to learn how to knit. Like, I don't know what your thing is, but you know what your thing is and you know what the whisper is. And so what I do is help people apply a little bit of business strategy because my favorite is when your passion project can also make you money. So
Oh, I like
that
that.
is what we are talking about on that show. And so I just am coming off of my podcast series because I was promoting my Pod Launch program, where I was talking all about podcasting and all the ins and outs. And I alternate between solo episodes and interview episodes. So I bring on lots of different people doing all sorts of crazy, amazing things in the world. And so that's just my one little way to hopefully leave the world a better place than I found it.
What's the expression, if you enjoy what you do for work, it's not work?
Yeah, or you never work a day in your life or something like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I and I definitely think that's valid and true. I spent 20 years in corporate and then ventured out into this whole entrepreneur world, writing a book, starting a podcast, doing all these crazy things. Um, well, I don't think they're crazy. I think they're amazing, but my friends and family all think I'm crazy.
Yeah. So do mine. So do mine. They think I'm
but
nuts.
Um, but yeah, I love to encourage other people to sprinkle a little fuel on their fire that's already kind of kindling there. And I like to think of my podcast as the little pebble in the pond, and there's all these ripple effects. So, like, I can share what I know, I can bring on great guests, but what you do with it is up to you. And hopefully, you do something amazing, but do or don't, up to you.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I went to college as it for a DJ. 'Cause back then
Oh,
I
wow.
interned at a radio station out here in New York, and I loved to be a DJ, and I was a DJ in college, and don't have to get into why, but it ultimately failed, and, then I got into computers because right around the time that I graduated and got into work, the Apple and the first Windows computer came out, and that
Mhm.
really caught my eye, so now I'm into computers, and I kinda left the DJing behind. But when podcasting came along,
Oh
I
my gosh,
listened to
that's
that.
like the 2 together.
Exactly.
That's
And
awesome.
I that's what I did. I combined the 2. Although my day job as an IT director has nothing to do with podcasting.
Yeah, yeah.
It's it's keeping a network at a business together. But I need to know something about that because I have a team, but I do all the technical stuff myself.
Mhm,
So I
mhm.
have a team that does the promo work. You talked about being creative. I am creative in my own way, but I can't put like a JPEG together.
Well, because
Or
everyone thinks creative means, like, artsy,
yeah,
and
that's where
it's
I'm.
not, like, there's so much creativity that goes into coming up with ideas for a podcast or how we solve problems, like, creativity is all sorts of different flavors, but, yeah, it's not just putting paint on a canvas, and that's what
Yeah.
most people think of.
And you're right. That's where I was thinking because I can't. I'm a stick figure guy. I cannot
Yeah,
draw.
yeah.
So
But the way, you can work with technology is probably really creative to somebody who doesn't understand technology or is intimidated by, the basics. So, yeah, creativity is there for
and what's
everyone.
interesting is that ChatGPT now can be your creator because I literally and the audience put your hands over your ears for all the cover art that I do and for a lot of the promos that I do. I just simply upload it and ask her. I call her to do it
Yeah.
for me, and it
Yeah.
because I have a full time job and then I come home and podcast every night. I have 3 podcasts, by the way, not one, and
I'm
uh,
always impressed when someone has more than one podcast. Like
it
one
it's a,
is enough for me.
it's a lot of work. I
It's
know.
a lot of work, but if you have people helping you, that explains it. Like if I were just having the conversations and then handing off the rest, then sure, I could have all sorts of podcasts.
Yeah.
Just how much
Well,
time do you have?
you're in the same network I am, Podmatch, and
Mhm.
I don't know if you utilize everything they have. They Alex and Alicia and the whole team will help you with a lot of things. Go to their webinars, and you can
I
meet.
have not been very involved, and I kind of pop into Podmatch, find some guests, I pop out for a while. But yeah, I definitely could take advantage of that. They do so much for podcasters, and I think when I first started, I was just on this little island, kind of learning by myself and trying to figure it out.
That's what I
And
did.
I just now am starting to really network and meet other. I'm starting to meet people locally, podcasters local. That it's just I don't need to be on an
That's
island.
one thing about the podcast industry that you may not find in some other industries. We're not competitive towards each other. We're
Oh, it's
colleagues.
amazing.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
the only time you might find a little competitive is if it's somebody in the exact same niche that I'm in. So I'm a dating podcast. So somebody who's in a dating podcast may look at me like competition, but your
even
podcast
that
and
I
my
haven't necessarily encountered. Like I've met people who I'm like, "Wow, we're really doing the same thing," and we will guest spot on each other's show, and it didn't feel like competition,
okay.
which was
No,
nice.
I haven't run across it yet, and I've been on some dating, not da I've been some. I've been on a bunch of dating podcasts, but every dating podcast is coming from a different direction and different perspective, and
Exactly.
yeah.
And that's
So
exactly what I talk about in my podcast program is that because that's one of the things that people tell themselves to not start their own show is, oh, there's so many or already so many people. Everyone has a different flavor.
yep.
Even if you're talking about the same exact thing, you're going to come from two different perspectives and your approaches will be different.
And I heard a stat: as many podcasts that start today, there are going to be as many that end tomorrow because a lot of people don't get past their 10th
Yes.
episode. So
So many.
yeah. So if 10 start today, 10 are going to quit tomorrow. So it's
Absolutely.
kind of like the population, like there's
Yeah.
50 babies born today, but 50 people are going to die tomorrow. That was a horrible
Well, and
example, but
that
you guess, yeah,
was kind of a morbid example,
it
but
was very
I got I
morbid.
got I got where you were going with that one. But yeah, that's what I tell people. I'm like, okay, yes, there are a lot if you just look at the covers and the list
Right.
of podcasts, but go look at how many have more than single digit episodes.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really what you're competing against.
And
And
that's
even then
the
you're
only other thing, and we'll wrap it up on the podcast, is that you have to be consistent and stay with it. You can't put 10 episodes out and think that you're going to go viral. It doesn't happen that way. I
wouldn't that
have
be nice?
275 episodes, and while I have an audience, I'm in no way, shape, or form the top 1,000 in podcasts. I'm just not. The other podcast I have is doing extremely well. It's the cult podcast. So, um, we're even eligible for sponsorship now, which we're working on. But
Yes. Well, and that's one of the things I talk about too is monetization. Everyone thinks sponsors is the only way to make money with your podcast. I'm like, oh
no,
gosh, no,
the
that's where you can get to. But there's all these different ways that you can make money in the process.
oh yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot. And there's a friend of mine that I might as well mention him, Paul Bauer from the Come On Man podcast. He's got merch now. You can
Oh
sell
yes,
merchandise, and so no, there's a lot of ways to make money. It's
totally.
it's marketing though, and it's not one of my things in my background, so I need help with
Yep.
that. So
Yep.
Shaunna, let's wrap it up. Anything you want to say about that maybe we didn't get a chance to cover because I talked over you too much? So,
No, no, you didn't. Not at all.
and then
No,
tell us
gosh,
where we can find you.
I think when it comes to dating, I just, my podcast is called Empowered Endeavors. I want to empower people that you're in the driver's seat and you are not looking for scraps. You don't settle for ghosting or breadcrumbing. Like you are in charge of your dating experience and you get to call the shots. And I would love for that to be the takeaway that everyone takes from this conversation is that you are the prize and you are the vibe.
Thank
So
you. Because that was told to me, and it never
it's so
registered
good.
until somebody said it out loud to my, and he just called me up one day, and I was complaining about, and he
Yeah.
said, Andrew, you're the prize, not
You're the
her.
prize.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
now
So
that's my mindset.
that would be my takeaway. And if it resonated, if everybody's listening is like that Shauna girl, I love her. You can find me on LinkedIn, Shauna Lee.
Okay. Any Instagram, Facebook, and any of
Oh, I'm
that?
in all the places, simply Shauna Lee in all the places, but I love to have one call to action. I'm focusing my podcast promoting in LinkedIn. So
And
that's where
LinkedIn.
I'm the most
Okay.
active. But
All right.
yes, I'm on Instagram and Facebook and Threads and Twitter and X
You have
now.
to
What
be.
all of the things. But
Yeah.
yeah, simply Shauna Lee is
Yeah. I'm
my
on
handle.
LinkedIn too, so I'll look for you on there, and we'll
Yeah,
follow
for
each
sure.
other.
Yeah.
All right, Shaunna. Thank you for stopping by and joining.
This was so fun. Thanks for
Yeah.
having me.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do it again one day.
I would love to.
Okay. All right, everybody. Shaunna Lee and her podcast is Empowered Endeavored, and go check her out. And thank you for gracing my airwaves. Bye bye.